I'm going to show you guys today how I took this as a product and took it from selling it for $59 per person to over $150 per person. Let's talk about it. So guys, my name is Ian. I am an entrepreneur based in Zurich, Switzerland, and I run an urban axe throwing range. So we sell not this, well now we do, but we teach people to throw axes at targets. That's what urban axe throwing is. Now I'm the first one to do that in the city of Zurich, and we do something actually that no other axe throwing range in the world does. So if you have an axe throwing range, listen up. This might be a huge revenue unlock for you. But first, I want to tell you a story. Basically, the story is there was a guy walking around a wood shop. And in wood shops, you have this stuff on the floor called wood dust or wood chips. And it's what you get when you cut wood. It's everywhere. You can pick it up and there's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just essentially waste. That's what it is. So an inventor called Armin Elmendorf in 1963 saw this material and thought, there must be a way to use this stuff somehow. So he got glue. He got all that material, he pushed it and flattened it really hard, and OSB was born. For those of you who don't build, OSB is like a compressed wood. Like it's a wood sheet that's made out of compressed wood chips, wood dust, and glue. And it's used everywhere today. It is so useful. It's super light, and it's basically wood. But this guy found something that was literally trash and turned it into money. For us, this is gonna sound surprising, but that was the case with these because the axes that we were getting, even though they were hickory handled, after a long enough time, the axes break. So they break usually right here where the head meets the handle. Now, if you have an axe throwing range, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And for years, we collected so many heads, and the handles, we still have them. I'm not sure what to do with them, but we tried a lot of different experiments. So we went through and tried tomahawk style axes. We tried these, but like more Chinese versions, and could never find an axe that was really easy to fix because I realized because labor is so expensive here in Switzerland that it was more expensive for me to pay my employees to fix the axes than it was to simply buy them brand new and use those. I mean, in an hour, my guys couldn't fix an axe. And they are paid at least 25, 30 bucks an hour. And an axe online costs 16. So I could save almost 10, 15 bucks per axe just by buying it brand new. And that's why we had so many axe heads laying around. And I remember one day we were having the normal sessions and there was a guy who is a fan. He's still a fan today. He works very closely with Axtra. I would say he's actually more than a fan. He's very much part of the Axtra family, and he is. His name is AB Axes. I will link his Instagram below. I don't know if that's gonna do anything, but he's very cool and he loves axes. Like he loves axes, and he is the axe man. And he came to us and he said, "Look, guys, your axes suck," which is crazy for an axe throwing range. And we're like, "Okay, that's kind of hurtful because we are the only axe throwing range." But thank you, I guess. He's like, look, we're going to do it like this. I'm going to come by and I'm going to show you how to properly fix these axes. And I was like, that's really cool because we've just been kind of doing like things and no one has actually, like, we never even thought that we'd fix them. I thought that I was even giving them away because I didn't want to throw the metal away. The metal was still perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. And so he came by with all of his tools and all of his stuff. And I had all my coaches come by and he showed us how to fix an axe. And within the first 5 minutes of him doing this, I was like, man, this is really cool. Like, this is really cool. Like, why does this not exist? Why isn't there a class where you can make your own axe or make your own tools? That would be fun. And when AB was done, the axe master, I was like, hey, I think we could make this into a class. I think this would be a really cool class where people can come, make their own axes, and then learn to throw those axes. But then they get to take the axe home. And because it's not that expensive of a thing, we can give it for a ridiculous price. And they get to keep the axe. And he was like, interesting. Okay, how would we do that? So I said, look, I need to learn more from you. I need to figure out what makes a good axe, what makes it nice. How do we make it work? How do we make it fit? Which handles are the best? And so we went on this journey of 9 months of testing. He tested a few axes out. I tested a few axes out. We tried them. I mean, this is an early iteration of the axes that we made, and you can see it's cut very tight. We have 2 of the smaller wedges in here. There's no glue in this axe, and it's good. It's nicely done. And this was one of the later versions. But before we did that, we had only one wedge in here. And then we tried the side. We always had a wood wedge, but we only had one of these little, we call them barrel wedges. We had one, and then that axe broke. And then we tried the sideways wedge, and that broke. And then we tried just glue, and that broke. And then we tried cutting a shelf here, and then the shelf was the weakest part, and then that broke. And so we tried a lot of different things. We did a lot of research on YouTube. And of course, there are a lot of people out there making really good axes for felling trees or cutting branches off, which when you use an axe like that, it's super easy to make something that holds. When you're throwing them, the amount of impact that goes into an axe, especially when it falls, is, I would say, 20 times harder, 30 times harder than anything you're going to do against a tree. Now, chopping a tree is very intense work, but the thing is, hitting the axe on the right part is always a good idea. We hit them all over the place. We hit them here, we hit them sideways. We do all the shit you should not do with an axe happens with these guys. Until finally, after 9 months of testing, after getting 3 different handle types, we came across these guys. These are hickory handled axes. The hickory handles we get from a local shop, actually, was super lucky. And we got one small wedge here, and we actually don't do this style anymore. The new style that we came up that worked was a small wedge and a big wedge in the back. Now, that worked for a really long time. And it was one of those things where when we first set up, we called it the forge, but then we realized that we shouldn't call it the forge because you're not actually making the head, and everyone was super confused by this. By the way, I love how optimistic people are when I tell them that, hey, you can make your axe in 2 hours, and they're like, oh, I don't get to forge the head. I'm like, bro, if we could forge a metal head in 2 hours, I would sell my science to the government. Like, I wouldn't be doing this, trust me. So we had to set expectations a bit, and when we first started, the class was a little janky, and we took tables that I had gotten for free from the office upstairs, attached some lights to them, small anvils. I think we could do like maybe 8 people in there, and started selling the class for $100. So for $100, you could get an axe, you could get the handle, we teach you how to mount it, and you got to throw. So the price was ridiculous. Like even back then, $100, like I remember I went to make a small knife this big in Japan, and it cost me $150 just for the knife. So, and that's Japan. We're in Switzerland. Like people have a lot more disposable income here. So we started like that, small, and we told people like, look, this is a new thing. This is something we're doing for the first time. We're trying to figure it out. And so at the beginning, it was working. It was going okay. And we ran into a lot of issues where the handle wasn't fitting properly on the heads, and like we had to refit them, and people were making mistakes. But then a lot of those mistakes actually became processes on how we do things. For example, it's not on this one, but we have a lot of axes. You'll see our axes are usually burned with flame, and they have like a white outline or a white text. And what that is actually, it's an anti-burn pen. And these accidentally got ordered from China by me because I thought I was getting the right ones. And when a girl was doing her design, she drew these mountains and everything. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. The pen is broken. And she had been working on it for ages. And it was a gorgeous thing that she had drawn because she was very good at it. I was like, man, this is just, I feel so bad. She's put so much work into this axe. And she looked at me with the biggest smile, was just like, no, it doesn't burn. And so it makes it really easy to like do your design. Because when you have those burn pens, you have to do it right. Because otherwise, if you get too close to the wood, you can burn the entire thing. And then you don't see your design anymore. If you've worked with this stuff, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But these anti-burn pens, what they do is they keep the outline. So you get to have a full burn on the axe, but you can see what you've written down very clearly. That was such a happy accident. That was one of those things where it's like, whoa, this is going to change how we do everything. And now the class is one of our staple items. This is something that we do all the time. If you have a birthday party, bachelor party, whatever, people want to come by and make an axe. Plus, we have upgraded our axes. Now we work with the largest Italian axe making manufacturer in the world. They actually sponsored the 2023 World Axe Throwing League champion with the axe that we now give to people. So this is the old school model, because guess what? We sold all of the old axe heads that we had. And it was one of those things, like all the old axe heads, like I think most people would freak out about the idea of selling a used axe head for that price. But we sold them, first of all, remember, for cheaper. And second of all, it was all about the angle. So we said, look, guys, the axes that you're using, you're giving them a second life. And because they're like kind of beat up, let's make the rest of the axe look beat up so it actually looks worn and kind of cool. So because the price was agreeable, because the axes were given a second life, and because they're still worked, like there was nothing wrong with them apart from a few scuffs, we were able to sell every single axe that we had ever broken over a 5-year period. Like we had hundreds of heads, hundreds of them. And now it is not only this class, okay? So imagine this, all right? From a business perspective, this was trash. Couldn't do anything with it. Still trying to figure out what to do with the handles. I haven't thrown them away because I want to try to figure this out. There is something here. I don't know what yet. If you know, please leave a comment below. Plus, if you like this type of content, please say something, do something, subscribe. I would love to get your feedback. I could talk more about this. I can show you guys this stuff in depth. But if you like, please like and subscribe. Thanks. We normally would charge $59 for people to come through, right? Now, an individual person pays on the lower end. If you're a group of at least 10, you pay $155. And if you're a smaller group, you pay $175 per person. That means the amount of revenue that we generate per customer coming in to Axtra has gone through the roof. Axe throwing is still by far the bread and butter, right? That's what everybody wants to do. They definitely want to throw. That's why with this class, we don't let you book it without the throwing anymore, because 99% of people afterwards like, oh my God, can we go throw this now? Obviously you want to use it. You just built it. So we said, you know what? We're not even going to give the option anymore. If you book this, you throw. That's it. They're together. No more separation. But guys, triple is what they spend on something like this. And it's a really, really cool product. We're super stoked to sell these when people come out, and like, it's always fun to film them and always fun to look at the things that they're doing, because everyone is different. And that is also what I'm trying to put across here is like, so if you are running a business, or if you're thinking about running a business, I think first of all, looking at the trash that you have, and seeing how to turn that into profit by listening to customers might be a good way to do it. The guy AB who came by and suggested it, he's the one who started off this entire conversation just by showing us how to make an axe. After that, we went through, I was like, the combination of his skill with like my brain to say like, okay, we can combine this into something really cool. By the way, he now has a free lifetime membership to Axtra. He can come by and make axes whenever he wants. He never gets charged. Him and 3 friends whenever he wants to. That's like just our way of saying thank you. And he's a good friend now. Being able to do that and take this trash and turn it into something that earns so much in comparison to our main product is pretty crazy. So step 1 is make sure you're listening. That's what I said a couple of videos ago about, even though you might have been in this business for a long time, you might understand a lot of the ins and outs. There could be something that somebody says that is just a nugget of gold. And that's why whenever anybody, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're already into this whole thing, when somebody says, have you thought of this, don't go, because that's what I used to do. I used to go, okay, yeah, of course I've thought of that. Like, this is I live and breathe this shit. Like, you think I haven't thought about marketing? Yes, I've thought about marketing. Now, anytime somebody says anything like, have you thought of, my ears perk up.
I'm listening, right?
I want to hear what they have to say. And if they say the thing that's obvious, that's also good news. Because then it's like, okay, I am thinking about that. That's good. Anytime somebody wants to talk about my business, I'm like, what would you like to say? Please say it out loud. Please say it for the class, because you don't know. That's second. And last, when you do something like this, that is a product that is new, that is different, that is outside of what you normally offer, don't go balls to the wall crazy with it, okay? If you really think it's going to work, you have to give it some time to grow. You're going to make mistakes. You can give it for a cheaper price, and you should really take your time. Not to mention, you shouldn't spend all of your money on this new product. Don't spend all your money on it. Make it cheap, make it accessible, make sure that everyone can do it, and make sure when you're done offering this product that you get the feedback from the customers. Really get real feedback. Not like, how did you like it? Oh, it was great. Call them afterwards. Be like, hey, you guys were one of the first people to go through our axe making class. Now that the excitement has worn off, like, is there anything that we can do to improve this? What would you say that we could have done that would be different? One of the big things that we learned from that is people were saying, you know, it'd be really cool. I'd love to make my axe really sharp. And so we added a station where you can just sharpen your axe for 20, 30 minutes if you want to. You have to sacrifice the design a bit, but you can make a razor blade and walk out of there like a ninja. And a lot of people are really happy with that. So yeah, I always loved this story. I think it's cool. We're one of the only axe throwing ranges. I think we might be the only axe throwing range in the world that does axe making like this. If you're an axe throwing range, you should definitely copy this because it's a great idea. It's a fun one. It's really cool to connect with customers. It's a different style of axeness, and Axecraft is very cool. Don't go out there and sling crap products. And if you are, give them a really good price for it and have all the intentions to make your product better. I wouldn't say that our product was ever crap because we did so much testing. And even then, this is 1080 steel. Like this is like, or I think it is, and a hickory handle. And if you made a bad axe, we were like, dude, here's your money back. Like, but it's literally never happened. Even people who messed up their axes, like, no, I like it because it's mine and it doesn't have to be perfect.